And we're back with another True Terror Tuesday. I'm excited. I know you guys are too. I had a freaking 84-hour work week. Oh yeah, dandy. I'm feeling great. So I hope you guys are ready to enjoy. So go ahead and grab a snack real quick. I want you to grab your Snuggies or homemade blanket. I have a homemade blanket from my mother. It is fantastic. To this day. Unscraped, unscarred, perfect condition. Amazing. Just for this. Grab some hot cocoa, put some marshmallows in it, maybe some whipped cream on top, maybe some M&Ms. Go elf mode. If you haven't seen Elf, make sure to watch it this year. And without further ado, first video. The first video today is uploaded by MJV Animations over on YouTube. Be sure to go check them out. This is 5 creepy horror stories, but we're probably going to be reacting to like 1 or 2 of them, just, time's sake, and to get to the best of the videos. So, let's get started.
This was only a few months ago. I was spending the weekend cozying up inside, as it was the end of winter, and these were the last few days of cold before it was supposed to start heating up. This night,
I hate the cold.
It was rainy and cold.
I hate it so much.
I had nothing better to do
I'm built
than
for the
watch
heat.
some movies and relax. But it was sometime not too long after dinner that there was a knock at the door. I got up and walked over, but looking out the peephole, I didn't recognize the man.
Ugh.
He was wearing some brown jacket and a beanie, and he was holding a snow
Did anybody else's mind go to the guy from Home Alone? Kevin's friend with the snow shovel? Just me? Okay.
shovel. Seeing as there wasn't any snow on the ground, I didn't understand what he was here for.
Yeah.
I cracked the door just an inch.
That's
and asked what
insane.
he wanted. It took all but 5 seconds of listening to him to know he was up to no good. He stumbled over.
You should have known just by looking at him.
Was trying to tell me a whole story about how he was just a friendly guy looking for.
I don't even see a chain on that door. This dude could just grab it. Yeah, no.
Any jobs to
You're
do
done.
in my yard. Something felt off about it. Unnatural.
Didn't know.
So I said no thanks and started shutting the door. But the guy quickly put his hand on it. For a second, he just stared at me, keeping the door open, before he let go. I shut and locked it, and after processing what happened, I looked back
called
out
the police.
window. He walked down to the sidewalk and disappeared in the rainy fog.
And you called the police.
I watched for another minute to make
And then you
sure
called the
he'd
police.
actually left for good. Then
Yep.
I went back to my movie. The guy was definitely sketchy, but I didn't think he would come back or anything, and would probably.
Would you go back to your movie after an old creepy guy with a snow shovel tried to break in your house? Or would you call the cops? Or are you somebody who's strapped and would have taken care of him yourself? Because I know dang well most of you wouldn't have gone with option number 1. Going back to your dang show.
just go on to the next house.
Absolutely
The
crazy.
rain had picked up over the next hour. I was still in the living room and had started another movie, although I knew I was probably too tired to finish it. My eyes were drifting in and out, but randomly, there was a thump above me that shook me awake. It was just one thump, and was kind of hard to tell how loud it actually was, with the rain outside. But what was odd about it was that it was definitely from above me. I got up and walked upstairs, looking for anything fallen over, or even a leak in the ceiling that might have made the house settle a bit. However, I found nothing.
Yep.
It could have been one of the gutters clicking out of place.
Oh
from the heavy
my
rain,
gosh.
Or really anything else. So
If it sounded
I
anything like the
ignored
thump
it.
they played for us in
I
this
went back
video,
downstairs,
no, that's not a
and
gutter.
being
That's
more
crazy.
awake now, I decided to finish the rest of the movie.
Naturally.
By the time I'd finished it and was ready to go to bed, it was nearly 12 a.m. I shut off the TV and went around turning off all the lights downstairs. But as I was walking upstairs to go to bed, I could very quickly feel the temperature drop as I got closer to the top of the steps. Maybe I was too tired to give it much thought, but when I got upstairs and started closing each of the doors that I'd opened earlier, I noticed something from the corner of one of the rooms. The window was cracked open.
Did it to yourself.
I must have stared at it for a whole 10 seconds, thinking how impossible that was, and
Yep.
just being extremely confused.
Yep.
I walked over and looked at it closer. It was one of the windows that had a small roof overhang under it, and before I closed it, I barely could see an imprint on the windowsill of what looked like a shoe. I could feel the blood rush from my face as I turned around and just listened for a moment. The low creaking of the house, combined with the rain speckling the roof, only made me more unnerved, knowing someone was in my house right now. I began slowly
called the
walking
police?
as quietly as I could back into the hallway. All the other doors were still open, making me feel like someone's eyes could be watching me right now through one of the doorways. I was able to make it downstairs though.
I'm beelining
From
it
there,
out of
I
the
got
house to
phone
my
and hid in the garage, calling 911.
head in the garage is crazy.
It took 5 minutes for the first officer to arrive. I heard nothing but the rain during that time. Once I let the officer in, I waited on my porch as he searched the home. About 2 minutes later, I heard him call out upstairs, and then he came down, holding a guy in handcuffs. I quickly recognized him as the man who showed up on my doorstep earlier in the night,
Crazy how
and
this
he
could
had
have
a
been
terrible
prevented.
look of anger as he passed by me and was thrown in the car. Putting all the pieces together, the guy had climbed up onto my roof, which was likely the cause of the thump I heard hours ago.
Wow,
Then he
no
got in through the
kidding.
second-story window, which I never had thought to even lock. Most disturbing, though, is
You
that
did
the
that to
officer
yourself.
said he was hiding in the master bedroom, which I was literally 30 seconds from entering, and maybe even falling asleep, without any idea he was in there. The guy even took his shoes off after climbing in the window to not let his shoe prints show on the carpet. So the fact that I saw the tiny imprint on the windowsill is a miracle. With him going directly to my bedroom, his intentions were clearly malicious, and thankfully
No
the judge
kidding.
agreed. It's only been a few months since, but I still have sleepless nights where I
Yep.
can't help but feel like someone is hiding inside my home in the middle of the night.
That's when you get a legitimate guard dog. I'm not even kidding. Like, dude, because yeah, that causes like legitimate mental issues. Like, you're never gonna feel the same in your house again. A lot of people end up moving after, within a few months after a burglary or a break-in and anything like that. Like, they end up moving because you just don't feel the same. Your house feels violated. So take the precautions to protect your dang home. That one was only 6 minutes, so we'll react to one more of these.
A
Hopefully, the
couple years
protagonist in
ago,
this one's
I
smarter.
applied for a temporary job at a local gas station.
Gas station, we're already in
I
trouble.
was planning to move in 6 months, so I couldn't get anything too permanent, but I still needed to make some cash beforehand. This job paid well, enough to convince me to work the job opening they had for the overnight shift. I would just stay by the register and occasionally do regular maintenance work. This was during my 4th month working there.
What year is this where a gas
At some
station
point
pays
during
well?
this time, I became familiar with a customer that came in
Intriguing.
pretty frequently. Almost every night, around 1 or 2 a.m., this guy would walk in and buy random different things. Sometimes it was household items, or food, or tools. I always
That
thought it was
specific
weird
bundle of stuff
because
has me
he'd
concerned
come in
immediately.
every night to buy
I'm not
a
even gonna
couple
lie.
things that would be way cheaper and easier to get at any regular
Why was that
grocery store.
scan so loud?
He didn't talk much either. All I knew was that his name was Dave, and he drove an old red Chevy sedan. He looked like he was maybe 40 to 45 years old. Anyway, one night at the usual 1 a.m. time, Dave pulled into the gas station. No other customers were here. It was just me sitting in the corner waiting out the time. When Dave walked
better show
in,
with a
though,
homemade
there
pipe
was
bomb.
something different about him. He was dripping in sweat, and he was rushing through the aisles, searching for something specific. When he finally found what he was looking for, he hurried up to the counter and tossed it down for me to ring up. It was a master lock, like one for locking up a bicycle. I really didn't feel like it was appropriate for me to question him. But with the guy sweating and being in a rush, I just felt a little off about this.
Valid.
Good to see you again, Dave. You just get a new bike? I asked in a friendly manner, hoping it would come off as just casual conversation. He didn't even look at me. Instead, he fumbled around for his wallet and started yanking out cash in a hurry. I left it at that and just rang him up, then watched him rush into his car and pull away. Something was definitely weird, but hey, maybe he just got a new bicycle and had been riding it around for a couple hours and needed to get back to wherever he parked it so he could lock it up before it was stolen. Maybe that's a stretch, but it was the best I could come up with. The rest of the night passed by, and so did several more days. I didn't see him for almost a whole week, which was odd, considering he usually came in every night. It wasn't until my Wednesday shift that I saw him again. It was drizzling outside, so the first several hours went by really slow. I was leaning back in my chair and looking out the window at the rain coming down when his red car pulled into the parking lot. As soon as he parked, he got out and rushed inside. I greeted him as he entered, but he ignored me. He hurried through the aisles and was talking under his breath. I couldn't hear what he was saying, but he sounded frustrated, and I got really uncomfortable, like my gut was telling me something was wrong. Then I heard a thud. My eyes shifted to the window, looking at the direction it came from, and the only thing there was Dave's car. It was a loud thud, too, like someone kicking the inside of the door. After a second, I looked back at Dave. He wasn't rushing anymore. He was standing in the aisle, staring directly at me, as if I'd just discovered something that I shouldn't have. There was another thud, but my eyes were fixed on Dave, as I could feel panic rushing through my body.
Yep. Please tell me they have a gun for
them. He quickly looked away and hurried out the door. I was still stunned, but managed to get my phone out and snap a picture of his license plate as he drove away. I called the police immediately.
A protagonist
that
knows
night
what to
felt
do.
extremely
Call
long
the police.
as I waited for any updates from them. And it wasn't until I got home around 6 a.m. that I received a call from the police. They found the guy from the license plate I gave them, and they found a woman that he had kidnapped. Apparently, he had just moved into a new small cabin on the edge of town less than a week ago, and he had no registered prior address, so they had no way to know what he'd been up to before this incident. Luckily, they saved this woman before she was harmed, though. Also, it turned out Dave wasn't his real name, which isn't surprising.
Shocker.
But at least he's locked up for good now.
Oh, this is modern day justice freaking system. He's not locked up forever. So, what did we learn from the first video to the second video? Call the police. This next video is uploaded by Mr. Nightmare, yet again making a return to the channel. If you can't tell, I really like his stuff, like a lot. So, this is going to be story 1 by Chris J, and it's 10 terrifying true horror stories. 10 true. I just caused my other monitor to shut off with how hard I just hit my desk. Oh my goodness. 10 terrifying true scary stories. Boom! We're reacting to the first one. Let's get into it.
When I was 21 years old, I would be home alone at my parents' house a lot. We lived on a little pond, which was directly in our backyard.
Just kidding.
On the other side of the pond was a little town park.
Yeah.
Our neighbors were a bit spaced out. It was a pretty upscale, expensive block compared to the rest of the town, so the properties were big. I'm fully moved out now, but this was back when I was in college. My parents make a lot of money, and we have multiple homes, so often I was home alone. It was a random night in the summertime. I was off from school, so I can't remember if it was the weekend or a weekday, but odds are since I was home, it was a random weekday. I was in the back sunroom watching a show. That was my favorite room in the house in the summer because it was the most cozy and had the
Ooh,
best breeze
those
with all the windows
breathing.
open.
Those
Right
breathing?
on the corner of the couch, closest to the corner window, when I heard
The breathing.
splashing from outside. Like in the pond. It could have been a goose or duck. Sometimes they'd fight in the water and make a bunch of splashing sounds. So
True.
at first, I ignored it. But as
That's
it
actually
persisted,
valid.
I decided to lower the volume on the TV and listen. I put my ear up to the window even, and I heard consistent splashing sounds, way too heavy to be from a duck or goose. It sounded like they were splashes from a person. I opened the door in the sunroom and stepped
What do
outside.
splashes from a person sound
I
like?
looked out to the pitch darkness of the backyard.
I'm just
I now heard
curious.
a man's humming along with the splashes.
Okay, see, that's different. Yep, that's whack. That's nope.
Someone was definitely swimming in the water. They were trespassing. Each house on the pond owned a specific chunk of the pond. I stepped inside for a second to flick on the lights to the backyard deck. As I did this, just a bit of the pond was exposed, and the splashes and humming stopped. Whoever it was clearly saw me. I wondered if it was one of the neighbors going for a swim or something, which also just seemed weird because no one really swam in the pond ever.
Okay,
But
so you give
honestly,
it.
whether it was or wasn't a neighbor, I wasn't going to confront whoever it was. I stepped back inside and turned off the lights, of course locking the door as well. I texted my
At least you
brother
have
who
that
was away
common
at college
sense.
about it. He didn't answer right away. I was trying not to creep myself out over it, but watching TV after this was kind of hard. I couldn't focus on the show. I looked out the window, but all I could see outside was darkness. I still had the TV on in the background, not realizing how revealing the light from the TV would be outside. And then, I thought I heard something on the deck. I hurried to find the remote and turn off the TV. And
Yep.
as the room went black and silent,
Popo.
it took me a few seconds to
Popo.
adjust and realize that there was the sound of someone's heavy breathing right outside one of the many windows in the room.
What did we learn from FNAF 4, guys? About heavy
I
breathing. That's
instantly
Bon
lay down
Bon.
flat on the couch to try and hide myself.
I-
And after a short moment of silence, a deep voice from outside the window said, "I see you." My heart dropped into my stomach. I couldn't decide in the moment whether to speak or keep hiding.
Ooh,
So I just
yo,
blurted out,
y'all see
"Paul,
that
is
out the back
you?"
door? I just saw
Paul
that.
was the
I
name of
just
one of our
realized that.
neighbors.
Yep, hell no.
I said this,
Hell
clinging
no.
onto the hope that
Hell no,
maybe
that's
it
giving me
was him.
goosebumps.
He was
Hell
just messing
no.
with me. But the man outside didn't respond to this. I just heard footsteps walking away. As the barefoot sounding footsteps faded to silence, I still laid flat on the couch, too afraid to move. I laid for a few minutes, before the thought to go check that all the doors were locked came to mind. I exploded off the couch and ran straight for the front door. It was locked, as was the side entrance door. After a little while longer and texting my entire family about what was going on, my dad told me to turn the backyard lights on and check if anyone was still out there. He basically told me to be the man of the house and protect it. So I listened and checked the back deck through the window. It was clear. I brought a big knife outside with me onto the deck, and I looked down. There were wet footprints that had half dried by then, but I could tell that they were barefoot footprints. I followed the trail of footprints around to the side part of the deck, and what I saw was nightmare fuel. The top part of someone's head, namely their eyes and forehead, was peering just over the edge of the deck from the ground below, looking at me as if he heard me coming and was waiting. As we made
No.
eye contact, he turned away, and by now I was ready to call 911.
Now
I
you're
did
ready to
so
call
before
911.
even
Got
telling
it.
My parents.
Got
Locked
it.
myself inside, waiting for them, and when they came, I felt instantly better. They asked if our family had any enemies or people who don't like us, or if we have any problem neighbors. Questions like this. They did do a quick sweep of the property and then left. I decided to shut every window that night and run the air conditioning just for added safety. When I awoke the next morning, I was just delighted to see sunlight. I don't believe that man ever returned to our house, and we still don't know who it could have been.
We're 1 out of 3 right now. One person called the cops at a reasonable moment. The other two? No. Not at all. Not at all. more dumb. In this next video, fingers crossed for a smarter person. Next video. This next video is uploaded by Thriller Teller on YouTube. Make sure you go check them out. I'll have their link in the description down below. This is called Wrong Turn. Literally no idea what even to say about that, so we're just gonna watch it. Wrong turn. Whoa. What about a car? Wrong turn. It's gonna be a baseball joke. Wrong turn. Hike in the woods. Wrong turn. Please don't actually be that. I don't like hiking in the woods, like horror stories. Those
Jenna
ones.
had always been adventurous, never the one to shy away from a dare or a thrill. So when her friends challenged her to drive alone on the desolate, eerie stretch of highway known as Whispering Hollow Road, she accepted without hesitation. It was a moonless night, and the only light came from the dim glow of her car's headlights, which seemed to slice through the darkness like a fragile lifeline. The dense woods on either side of the road loomed like silent sentinels, their branches reaching out to claw at the car as she sped down the narrow, winding path. The wind whispered through the trees, creating eerie, ghostly sounds that sent shivers down Jenna's spine.
This
As she
person
drove deeper into the heart of Whispering Hollow
personally
Road,
definitely does ASMR videos. I'm
Jenna's
telling you right now.
unease grew. The road twisted and turned, seemingly endless, with no signs of civilization in sight.
Wow.
She
Okay,
couldn't
so you're turning around and going back.
Why this
That's what that
place
means.
was so infamous among the locals. The
Turning on subtitles for you guys, because just in case I talk and I ruin it for you. There you go.
stories she had heard were full of ominous warnings, tales of travelers who had ventured onto this road and had never returned. Suddenly, the radio crackled to life. It had
People.
been
I
silent
actually
the
can't.
entire journey.
I
but
can't,
now
people.
It emitted a distorted voice.
Oh!
Jenna's heart pounded in her chest as she tried to make sense of the eerie message.
If the demon is telling you to turn back, the demon is telling you to turn back, you freaking turn back. Oh my gosh. All right. That one got me a little worked up.
The voice hissed, almost inaudible, but distinct enough to send a chill down her spine. Her grip on the steering wheel tightened, and she pressed her foot harder on the accelerator. She was determined to prove that she wasn't afraid of a few ghost stories. The road seemed to stretch on forever,
You're
and
literally
Jenna's nerves
past
were on
a few
edge.
ghost stories.
Shadows
A
danced at the
flipping
edge of her vision,
devil
and strange
spawn
shapes
was talking
darted
to you.
across the road in front of her. She couldn't tell if they were real or figments of her imagination. As Jenna rounded a particularly sharp curve, her headlights illuminated something that made her blood run cold.
And you turned around and left. I'm not. Wow. Oh, I'm about to box somebody. Oh, I'm about to box somebody. That
A pale,
Idiocracy.
ghostly figure standing in the middle of the road.
I think I'm allergic to
Was a young
stupid.
girl,
I think
her
I'm.
long, wet hair clinging to her face. The girl stared at Jenna with hollow, empty eyes, and Jenna could feel a profound sense of dread washing over her.
Yep.
She had heard stories of a ghostly hitchhiker who haunted this road, a tragic spirit seeking a ride to her final destination.
Is he giving me...
every ounce of courage, Jenna spoke.
Are you okay?
Giving me the woman in white vibes from the Supernatural.
Jenna quickly realized that coming here was a huge mistake. She wanted to get out of here
Really?
as fast as possible.
You don't
Suddenly,
say.
the radio started crackling again.
You deserve it at this point. Not even at this point. You started deserving it a while ago. This is insane. I can't. Oh! 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 You're a piece of garbage. Actually, you're a piece of trash. You are words that I'm not gonna say because I love the life that the Lord's given me. I don't know what the hell just happened to me.
I think I've just one more mile to go. Then it'll be all over. I'll never have to come back here again.
She's not even reacting to the fact that the thing just hit her windshield.
Stupid radio. Why is it not turning
I'm
off?
punching it, bro.
Like many others who took a wrong turn and got lost on Whispering Hollow Road, Jenna sadly never returned back, and no one will ever know what happened to her.
Don't do stupid dares. Don't do stupid dares. There's the lesson from this video. And the biggest lesson thus far. Don't do stupid. For my back's sake. Dang. Next video. This next video was uploaded by Alexander the Titan over on YouTube. And I'll put him in the description. And you can check it out. It's called Mama Agnes. Very short. Thank God. Let's see. If they manage to cause me to rupture my spine like the last one. Real people. This is live action, all right. FaceTime. Don't you just hate it when your parents, your friends can't answer a FaceTime call? If you respond with pure emojis after that, I'm gonna... That was my mother. That was my mother. I had to respond to her real quick. Sorry about that. What did I miss?
Mom? Hey, sweetie. You're home early. I thought you weren't supposed to be back till next week.
Oh?
Is everything okay?
Yes. Everything is fine.
Answer your damn phone.
Hey, sweetie. How's it going? Sorry I missed your call. You look like you've seen a ghost, girl. What's going on? Sweetie? Baby, what's going on, sweetie?
Oh God, please.
Sweetie?
There's a second. Oh, dang. We will react to that next time. We'll react to that next time. We will react to that next time. I promise that will be in the next one. I have to get off. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed yet another True Terror Tuesday. That really hurt my back. I'm not even kidding. Like, I'm actually gonna have to take a hot shower and then probably ice my back and use my heating pad because I actually hurt my like middle to lower back. That's like the first jump scare, isn't it, so far in our True Terror Tuesday series? No, there was one that got me decently, I think, last week. Anyway, that was terrible. Of course, if you guys did enjoy, and of course, I'll see you guys in the next one.
Oh, 'cause it's too cold.